Okay, so Rachel Richards here guiding you today with Cara Starkey, and she is so excited to be with you guys today. She's got, if you're looking as to where to go in your books to kind of get ready for her share, it's element 17 of your life book. And then the correlating section of the Habits of Health book is going to be 2.9. So remember, we do behavioral, like why aren't we doing what we want to be doing, or we just don't know. And then we're also doing science and empowerment through the Habits of Health book. So we toggle between the two systems to transform our body and renew our minds. So this morning, I'm going to move right out of the way and let Cara tell you a little bit about her health transformation and where she's meeting you at today. And she's got some professional experience that is really amazing. You guys, I think it's so awesome before she does that, that we do have health professionals that step in and say, you know what, I want to also be a health coach. And like nothing makes me happier than seeing that, because I feel like it really is going to move people forward. But what I also love about our program is that every single client can also share it. And that is a level playing field, and we don't need the expertise, but boy, we like hearing about it sometimes. So Cara, take it away, my friend. I'm gonna mute myself and go into full-on admin mode here.
Hey guys, like she said, my name is Cara Starkey and I live in Titusville, Florida. So that's Central Florida for those of you that don't know. And I work, my full-time job is as a nurse midwife and a nurse practitioner. So this is still out of my comfort zone, right? It's kind of crazy. I think you think that when you go to your healthcare provider, they know what it looks like to be healthy. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of us don't know what that looks like to be healthy. We didn't get a lot of this in our education with school about nutrition and movement. And so this has been a great experience for me, eye-opening, and it has enabled me to help my own patients live healthier lives. So it's been really great. I came to this program about a year ago. Julie is my coach, and I'm 45 years old. I started this program at 158 pounds and I'm 5'1". So I was definitely in the obese range. And I had grown up my childhood. I'd spent being a cheerleader and a gymnast, and I was super active. And when I was in high school, my senior year, I think I weighed about 118. And everybody knows how that story goes. You go to college, you gain your freshman 15 or more, and then you get married and you have kids, and it just keeps piling on, and you don't know what to do about it. And I didn't know what to do about it. So it's really cool to now have tools to know what to do about it, So this is a very exciting topic for me because I always thought that I'd have to go back and kill it in the gym to get healthy. And that's really, really far from the truth. And I think that's a lot of what people think. They, as the patients come to me, they'll say things like, I work out 3 to 4 times a week and I just can't get my weight off. And, and now through the power of this system that Dr. Anderson has created for us, we now know that that's not truth. So that's exciting because I don't want to go kill it in the gym. That's not my thing. So we're going to be talking about NEAT today. That's NEAT. And NEAT is not your teenage boy's bedroom, and it's not your teenage girl's bathroom. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here, right? So does anyone want to come off mute and tell me what NEAT actually stands for? Nope. All right. So it stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, the other side to that is EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's when you are killing it in the gym, okay? So today we're actually going to focus on NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And I first want just to tell you guys a quick story as far as movement goes and healing. My son 5 weeks ago, he's 15 years old, he works out. So he's doing the EAT. And he was in the gym prepping for football season, and he's lifting weights. And in the middle of a power lift, he lost balance of the bar, and his middle finger on his left hand hyperextended back to his forearm. So it went from here all the way back to here. I guess that's not the forearm, but the top of the arm. And he heard a loud pop. And so that led us to head to the orthopedic surgeon's office for evaluation. So when we got there, we found out that he had actually broke his metacarpal, which is this center bone right here, and it had split, not side to side, but had split down the middle, like right down the middle. It was pretty nasty. So the orthopedic surgeon said, you know, he's young, he's active. I think we will be okay if we just cast it. We do not need to do surgery, which he said, and other people, I would recommend pins and plates and all this stuff. So we were trying to avoid all that. So after 4 weeks of being in a cast, they removed the cast and did his x-rays again. And guess what? That bone is still very much broken down the middle. And I was like, oh, I'm like, no, you know, are we going to have to go back to the cast? And strangely enough, which it shouldn't be so strange to us though, right? Strangely enough, the doctor said to us, you know what? He's already got, the bone is already starting to mend itself. It's already starting to form those webs of sticky tissue to bring that bone back together. And what is going to heal him most is movement and circulation. And I was like, of course, it's movement and circulation. Now, that doesn't mean go back out to the gym and start doing crazy workouts or anything like that, but just moving it promotes that circulation to get that bone to complete healing. So it really did remind me of NEAT and this non-exercise activity thermogenesis that we want to accomplish. So the goal is to kind of move like when we were kids, right? Now, when I think about that, I think we weren't self-aware as kids, right? Like we were going out, we were riding bikes, we were climbing trees, we were playing hide and go seek with our friends, maybe playing laser tag or whatever it was out in our neighborhoods. And we were super active. And we didn't think about it. We just did it, you know? And then what happens? We graduate from high school, we go off to college, and our lifestyle changes a little bit for most of us, right? We become more sedentary, we're sitting more, and it becomes, you know, a big problem. For most of us, the big issue is that now that we're maybe parents or grandparents, we're not doing a very good job keeping up with our kids and our littles anymore because we're just not physically able to do so. So this program really is to get us back from the sidelines, back onto the playing field so that we can be more present in our lives that we're living and enjoy our lives a little better. So I think it's important to realize that exercise and physical activity level or physical activity are not the same thing, okay? So exercise is actually planned movement. And in your Habits of Health book on page 346, this is what Dr. A says. He says, one big difference between exercise and physical activity is that exercise is generally done for a short period of time, usually just a few hours a week. However, physical activity can be integrated into your daily life in a much more organic and complete manner. So for me, one of the things that I was doing, which this is somewhat embarrassing, I guess, but I didn't think about it. My building where I work as a nurse midwife, nurse practitioner is 2 stories, right? Bottom floor, second floor. What do? You walk in the building and what's the first thing on the left side? elevators, right? For years, I have worked with this company since 2009. And for years, I've been taking the elevator up one flight of stairs, y'all. One flight. Like, this is craziness, right? So when I started working with Julie and she mentioned, hey, just little changes is what's going to make the big difference, I started taking that flight of stairs every day. It's not a big deal. It's one flight. I take them up, take them down, and I do that several times a day. So the goal in this whole thing is to start making small changes in your daily routine that you can sustain for a lifetime. Okay. Now, the other thing that Dr. A says in our book, which I find, again, so reassuring and so good, is that he says that exercise, activity, thermogenesis, which is eat, the contribution to our daily calorie consumption pales in comparison to the power of meat. So you all being more self-aware of your small activities during the day is going to be much more important in the long haul than it is to actually make conscious effort to go to the gym. Okay. So with that said, do any of you guys have any ideas what there's 6 categories of meat? Do you guys know the 6 categories of meat? So you want to hop off mute and give me a couple?
Standing.
Sitting. I'm sorry. Using the stairs.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Anybody else?
Walking or strolling.
Yes.
Samba.
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 Yeah.
Dancing in the kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah, fidgeting.
Yeah.
At home doing housework.
Yes.
Yes.
How many got Roomba for Christmas? I did. I'm embarrassed. I got the right. My mom was like, "Oh, this will help you." Little did she know it was taking. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to get better. I don't know if you can see. Sorry. I felt like I was living in a cave. Is that better, guys? You were seeing just my outline. Anyway, sorry about that. So yeah, so those are definitely some things, parts of meat. So these are the 6 categories. Stance, right? What is stance? Making sure that when you are standing, that you're not slouching, right? You're using your core to keep your body straight, right? How you walk, are you using good body mechanics when you walk? Like making sure that you're, very conscientious of your core and of your shoulders. Standing, I know you guys have seen it on Facebook and maybe Amazon. Those of you that work at a desk all the time, you can actually find those desks that now raise up to stand, right? So, and when I first saw that, I'm like, okay, whatever. What is that? But now I'm like, okay, I get it, right? So standing, super important. Strolling, right? So walking, stairs is another one. I will say living in Florida, we don't have as many stairs I find here as we do up north where I'm actually from. Back where I'm from, we had a 2-story home and we had a basement that had stairs, and there's a lot of homes in Florida that are 1-story. So we don't get so many extra stairs here so much. Samba, this reminded me of TikTok. You see all those videos of people breaking out and dance and all that stuff. And that's kind of exciting, right? Using your social media to actually change it up a little bit and move. And then switch. And I'm like, what is switch? Like switch is what I was talking about with the Roomba or with your can opener, right? Who thought that opening a can of green beans was actually something that is movement? And we're talking about every little movement you do adds to your calorie consumption a day. Okay. So, and I just, I also want to say that when we look back at our childhood or when we're teenagers, in in the Habits of Health book in 2.9, Dr. Anderson actually talks about when we hit, and I didn't know this honestly until I started studying this, we at the age of 20 start losing muscle mass a pound a year, y'all, a pound a year. So what does that mean for us? Well, when we start losing muscle mass, we're not burning as many calories because muscle burns more calories than fat does. So when you lose that muscle mass, it just doesn't go away. It's replaced with something. And what is it replaced with? Fat. It's replaced with fat. So it's as we age and as we mature, as I like to say, because who wants to grow old, that as we mature, we have to definitely be more conscientious of our movement that we do on a daily basis and not live that sedentary life. In fact, Dr. A says in this Habits of Health book that even jumping to that EAT, exercise, activity, thermogenesis can actually be dangerous for us if we're not ready, right? That's when you hear people dropping dead when they're out running. You're like, if that's what getting healthy looks like, I'm good. Like, I'm not doing that, right? Well, there's some truth to that. You can't just be like, how many people do we see, January 1st comes around. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to I'm going to get into this exercise routine without changing these little habits that they need to change. So by changing our habits, our micro habits and our, every single day, we are preparing for bigger things. He says in the Habits of Health book that after about 2 months on a 5-in-1 or 2 months in doing a NEAT, then we can start working on EAT. The goal is actually to do EAT eventually, okay? But you're not going to start out like that. He mentions in there starting out with a crawl. We all start out crawling, guys, scooting, crawling, right? Before we take those first steps to walking. Getting back into our health journey looks very much the same way. You've got to start with crawling first before you can actually get back into an exercise routine. Does anybody want to contribute or say anything or add to this?
Hey, Cara, it's Jamie Hurd.
Jamie?
Hey, I wanted to add something to this. So exercise is one of my specialties. I'm a personal trainer, but I do want to say being introduced to this NEAT part has been one of the coolest things for me and some of my clients that I work with, because there's this whole idea of when you're lifting heavy, being able to get into the depth of a squat that you want to get, or being able to get full range of motion. But something that I'm finding, thanks to Dr. A, that's super important is this whole idea of functional fitness and being able to do things like squatting to go to the bathroom, being able to carry grocery bags, being able to walk as you age without having those little tiny steps that oftentimes you'll see older people have kind of done that because they're not using that full range of motion. And just like taking these 6 things that we just talked about and being able to incorporate that into your life will literally take you through. If you live, I have a grandma who's 100, still walking, and she's able to do those things. And so just wanted to encourage that it's not about necessarily building muscle and, squatting 300 pounds and get full depth. It's about being able to use the bathroom without help. And it's, just all those functional things that we need to give us that optimal health. So just wanted to say, I've seen a huge improvement with some of the elderly clients that I have and functional fitness.
Yes, absolutely, Jamie. That is a very good point. I think it's, it's really frustrating when you see, as we get more mature, I see this in my own family and I'm heartbroken for them because some people are not coachable, right? Like you got to be coachable. You got to be ready to make a change and ready to listen. But so many people feel like, well, I've earned it. I've earned the chance to sit on my couch the rest of my life. I worked hard. Maybe I was at war. Maybe I was in Vietnam War. Maybe I was, I've earned that right to plop on the couch and not do anything. Or I've earned that right to sit on the scooter at Walmart. And, I think that's one thing that, it shouldn't be so hard to convince people to get healthy, but so many people feel like they are giving up. And I hear it all the time, and I'm sure you hear it as a coach too. I just don't want to give up anything. I want to look at them and say, you are already giving up, right? Your kids are saying, hey, mom, can you go out and chase me? Like on the beach, can you chase me? Play, oh, honey, go play with your brother or sister. Go play with your friends. And we shoo them off, So, I think we really have to focus on what is the value, where is the value of remaining active and remaining healthy, having overall health. And that's what Dr. A has given us, the ability to not just lose weight, but to actually maintain and sustain a healthy lifestyle for life.
Hey, Cara, real quick, I just saw a couple hands go up. I don't know if you can see it, so I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead. I can't see it.
It looked like John and then Kristen. And then I know, I think Julie's going to share something with us. Is that right, Julie? Did you see that I made you co-host? Okay. Awesome. Go ahead, John, and then we'll go Kristen, then we'll go John Paler, and then Julie.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to share, I love watching races, Formula One, whatever, but what I do is I have a elliptical, and when I'm sitting watching races, I just go on the elliptical for a very low impact motion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What I was just going to share, I don't know if he was done, but I'm working with a couple that's in their 70s. And yesterday I got to talk to them after they went on a 16-day vacation to Dubai. Mind you, they're in their 70s. And, listening to them talk, and I got all the pictures while they were gone, and they had first class and 5-star hotels. To hear them tell me that he didn't gain any weight, and I think she lost 2 pounds. And they ate, I'm not saying they were definitely not 5-1 strict, but they said between all the movement and the walking and being on their time, they said they didn't need all the extras. It was really cool to hear that their vacation, I heard about sightseeing, I heard about walks, I heard about historical, all of those things. So there is something to be said that when we do the things that it does, because I saw it on one of these pages that if we do these things, this could last well into our 90s. And don't quote me, but I think they're in their mid 70s.
Yeah. Incredible. John, I think you're up.
I just wanted to say in the beginning of my journey, I really had to lean into that meat because I just didn't feel good, super overweight, and really leaning into that, whether it was parking a little further at the grocery store to get a couple more steps in, or like when Katie was out shopping, my wife Katie, I would go for a walk or walk a couple extra aisles in the store. I had to kind of build that stamina up over time while I was losing weight to get into the eat exercise. So, really leaning into the NEAT helped me to raise that stamina up to where I wanted to do the eat and all that stuff.
Michelle?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So when I first started Journey, I found myself trying to incorporate more NEAT and thinking about how many different things I can do in my day. And so for one, if I was sitting down, I would always wiggle my foot because it's some kind of motion. And then I found myself, because we have an upstairs, downstairs home, that when I was cleaning bathrooms, I would make it almost a game for myself. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to clean the toilets. So I would go, I have 3 bedrooms. I would clean one toilet, go to another, and I'd go to another downstairs. And then I would clean the mirrors and clean one mirror, go to the other mirror and go downstairs. And when I do laundry, I fold it and I do one bedroom or one person at a time when I put it away. And so before I knew it, I was actually incorporating that NEAT pretty well in my day. So I just tell my clients, just think of little things that you can do that's extra, and that counts. You know, you've got to start slow. Just like Dr. A had mentioned, you got to crawl before you actually run that 5K. So
Yep.
that helped me.
Awesome, Michelle. Thanks.
Hey, I was just going to share that tracking. So this is not something that most of us would typically track, is just some extra movement during the day. We want to track like the 30-minute cardio at the gym. We want to track the weightlifting at the gym, but it's Dr. Anderson actually says to track your NEAT. And so if you go to page 375 in the Habits of Health book, it talks about tracking your NEAT and increasing that over time. So I just wanted to share a resource with you guys. Okay. So if you go to habitsofhealth.com, can you guys see my screen? Good. Okay. So if you go here and you go to system resources, there's so many great things on here, you guys. There are videos, but what I'm going to look at is there's the macro habits, health, there's all these logs on here, but there's a log on here, daily NEAT activity log. And then look, it moves into EAT, a walking program. There are so many different, resources here. So there's the NEAT system. So this goes over NEAT. This is basically, I think, what's in your life book. But what I wanted to show you is there's these tracking sheets. Hold on, let me see if I can get it all. There we go. So it helps you to see how you're doing things during the day, what categories, and maybe just, putting some tally marks in there, or how much you did, how many minutes. And then it has points. So this is something that you can use to help you be intentional. If we're not intentional and we don't put something around it that is visual, I think a lot of times we just, first of all, we don't know how much we're doing. And we, can lose track of the fact that it's important to do those things if we don't have it in front of our face. But I wanted to show you too, the importance of NEAT. On page 376, it says moving forward from NEAT to EAT. It says, by the end of the second month using my NEAT system, you'll be burning 200 more calories each day than you are right now, just by enhancing your normal everyday activities. Guys, an extra 200 calories burned in optimization just from being mobile is a good thing. And it says, and that increase in energy expenditure means you'll be able to offset the natural decrease that occurs as you lose weight, which is the key to healthy weight management. Because as your weight comes down, so does the need for calories. So as we have that happen on the 5-in-1, if you incorporate NEAT into your day, you're going to bring that burn up just a little bit to where you're going to continue losing at a steady rate on the 5-in-1. This is a great tool to use as you get closer to your goal weight. Your weight loss will slow down merely because your body weight is less and you're carrying around less weight. So you're burning less calories. So how do we offset that? We start with NEAT, and we start with just getting some extra steps in the day, get those steps up to 10,000 steps. And that's going to help you continue to lose that last 5 or 10 pounds that may be a little stubborn. But it's nothing to do, we can't decrease the calories you're eating anymore. Like, we're at ground level 0 with 5-in-1, right? So this is how we enhance that. You just add a little bit more work, and it's not anything like spinning or running on a treadmill. So I just wanted to throw that in there because it's super important to understand how that works as you're going through your weight loss journey.
So I know we're coming to an end, but I do want to give you guys a little bit of homework. So TEE stands for total energy expenditure. That's what we're talking about. And like Julie said, as we lose our weight, we burn less, right? So the way you figure that out is take your weight times 11. Now, the cool thing about that is that do it with the weight you started, multiply that by 11 and see what it took just to survive at that current weight, at your weight that you were previously. And now multiply it by your current weight times 11 and see how that caloric deficit has been, created just by your weight loss. So like she said, it's super important for us to be self-aware of that. Otherwise, if we eat what we've always eaten, we may gain, so it's really important to be self-aware about our energy expenditure based on what our actually caloric needs are and our weight. So do a little homework and your weight times 11 and now your current weight times 11 and see what that difference is.
Wow, thank you so much. That was awesome. Really good shares. Loved all the interaction. I want to leave you guys with something that is a concept. Prior to Optavia, we liked the intensity, right? We're an intense culture. We love intensity over consistency. When we talk about NEAT, we're talking about what can you do every day, not what can you do once in a while when a Ragnar is coming up or a this or a that. That is our society's plague, is the intensity over the consistency. Dr. A is looking to end that in our eating, in our moving, in our thinking, that all or nothing concept that I had prior to program. I became a spin instructor so I could eat what I wanted. How about just why was food so important to me? Well, how about we address that, or why I'm eating when I'm not even hungry? Why was I running to spin and trying to outwork a bad diet? That was me. Maybe that's you. Maybe these concepts are things that you're like, man, I have those same concepts. So this is why we are the only program that is interested in your concepts, interested in your despair cycles. Do you guys know that a despair cycle involves intensity? What can I do for an intense 60 days until I fail? And then I shame myself. And then I wait for the next fad. And then I do it all over again, right? This program is a mission to end that because it's hurting our kids and it's not a good example of health. And so these calls every Saturday, they're to empower you. A diet is disempowering. Trying to drink a bunch of shakes on program and lose the weight as fast as you can, that's that old self coming back. Like really look at why is the weight loss important? Why is the transformation important? Lean into your coaches, lean into the community. Thank you so much, Cara. That was awesome. And Julie and everyone that shared. And you guys have a blessed Easter. For those of you that celebrate that, and we will see you next week. Take care and have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Thank you for showing up for yourself.